Says did Tariq take the bag? This came with the link. We'll watch it and then we'll discuss.
Let me tell y'all something. I've gotten calls from these white networks wanting to put me on and give me a real big bag to get on TV and get out here and start throwing the bus with them. Let me tell y'all, think these folks haven't hit me up? When I start saying that I agree with Trump, do y'all Google that? Google Tariq Trump. Look at all the right-wing publications that jumped on that. Look at all of them that jumped on that. And I'm talking about especially a person like me, as black as I am. They would love for me to join with them to dump on some black immigrants. There's a huge bag for that. To put me on and give me a real big bag to get on TV and get out here and start throwing on and give me a real big bag to get on TV and get out here and start throwing a real big bag to get on TV and get out here and start throwing to get on TV and get out here and start throwing TV and get out here and start throwing
I don't know what the hell is going on here. Why does this keep repeating this one?
StreamYard doing you. It doing you better than it do me, though. At least it didn't kick you out. It kicked me out.
Yeah, I don't understand. Let me try start it over. Let me see if it was like some type of buffering issue or something.
Black immigrants under the bus with them. Let me check. Y'all think these folks haven't hit me up? When I start saying that I agree with Trump, do y'all Google that? Google Tariq Trump. Look at all the right-wing publications that jumped on that. Look at all of them that jumped on that. And I'm talking about especially a person like me, as black as I am. They would love for me to join with them to dump on some black immigrants. There's a huge bag for that. To put me on and give me a real big bag to get on TV and get out here and start throwing
All right, I don't know what's going on there, but you guys get the gist of it. Did Tariq take the bag? Let me see what I start. Let me start with Kibwe this time around. Kibwe, what say you?
So I don't know if he took the bag or not. Like, I don't know if he accepted that position on TV to talk bad about black immigrants, but I don't know why he's pretending like it's unique for the far right or the racist right wing of the political sphere to reach out to black people to spew rhetoric that enables their white supremacist beliefs. I mean, and the reason that they're reaching out to you to do that is because you already do. I mean, Tariq Nasheed already, he said it himself. He agrees with Donald Trump. I don't even know what he said he agrees with him about, but the fact that you up here, the fact that he was making that a part of his content, talking about how much he agrees with Donald Trump, we know the rhetoric he spews about, the xenophobic rhetoric he spews about black people who aren't African American. He's created this pseudo ethnicity of being a FBA, a foundational Black American. I don't know what that means. But I mean, the right wing is reaching out to him because he spews rhetoric that enables their beliefs. The same reason they reached out to Candace Owens, the same reason they reached out to Herschel Walker, the same reason they reached out to the two black women the first time Donald Trump ran for office. So I mean, I don't know why he's pretending like this wasn't intentional on his part.
All right, thank you for that, Kibwe. Let's have from Carl next. Carl, what are your thoughts?
So I think we're going to find out, in maybe 20, 30 years that Tariq has been an agent the whole time. Uh, I really do believe that. I think this man, of course he took the bag. Of course he did. You, the way he changed so drastically. He went from being, making movies talking about the Haitian Revolution and all that other stuff to now, calling black immigrants tethers. It's obvious he took the bag. And to me, I feel like his actions are treasonous, especially in a time where we're seeing more outward manifestations of racism. We need to be united. And instead of him talking about our unity and how we can work together, because we have more things in common, black people, black immigrants, black Americans, we have more things in common than we have apart, you know. So instead of him trying to organize and unify us, he's trying to tear us apart. And that's exactly what was done in COINTELPRO. That's what Eldridge Cleaver did when he was with the Black Panthers. The whole divisive nature of what he's doing. So yeah, he took the bag. I mean, he's an obvious agent, and I'm frustrated because more people don't understand that this man is an agent and this man is working against our greater unity and working to find a common purpose. People still give this dude money for his museums and his films and all the other bullshit. This whole foundational Black American was just a reaction because he didn't get accepted into the whole ADOS thing, which is another COINTELPRO movement. Yvette Carnell already, she's already admitted she works for a right wing organization against immigration. So, this whole thing about him taking it back, of course he did. Look at this man tell me he wouldn't take the bag. He was a pimp. By his own admission, of course he would take the bag. So, a pimp gonna sell ass when gonna sell his ass when he has no other choice. So of course he did. He took the bag. I'm not even surprised by that. But we have to stop listening to the dude. He's an obvious agent working in detriment to our community. And I think more people need to realize that.
Thank you for that, Carl. Shout out to Akamfo saying peaceful greetings. I haven't seen Akamfo in a while. I know he's one of those Saturday night working folks. So I appreciate you passing through, stopping by. Let's go to Brother Bakari. Bakari, what say you?
Yeah, the only way if he didn't take the bag, that means there wasn't no bag there. Man, Tariq Nasheed and took, God damn it, I said that bastard name. That motherfucker he took everybody bag. He done scam black folks, the folks he called Foundation of Black America. He getting paid by them white folks, man. But he's been doing this. This is nothing new. That's why my homeboy, I told you, that's why my homie was surprised when it took me about 2.5 hours to figure out. But I'm literally being honest. I watched like 2.5 hours of him and said, this dude ain't nothing but a scam artist. I didn't give a damn about him doing those hidden color DVD. I didn't give a damn about that. Anything else he did. I have never purchased anything that guy did. My homeboy was laughing at me because he said, man, you the one who always got to show me when it comes to this stuff. But not this. You show me. He said, man, 20 minutes. All you got to do is just sit down. Look, see, this is my thing, right? I'm from a little country town called Glen Island, Mississippi, right? It's a small country town with big city problems. And one thing I don't understand about people from these big cities, how being from these big cities, they don't understand the hustle. When I ask, have y'all ever played 3-card Molly? Have you ever seen somebody playing 3-card Molly? See, we say Molly down south. It's 3-card Monty. My wife was from New York. She used to try to correct me. We say Molly. We weren't concerned about that. Chase the P. Or they out there with their car. You ever seen them with the 3 cars? You're trying to find the cars and they flipping the cars on. See, that black say you can't get your money back. See, I'm going to take red and I'm going to put it to bed. Now, if I'm out there and you listening to me and you know me, right? Koku, I got to let you win. I got to let Oni win. I got to let Carl win. Don't nobody know that I know Koku and Oni. I don't know Carl, but people don't know I know you and you. So I got to give the people something good to bring them. I'm gonna give them something good in front of everybody. And what they're gonna see is they're gonna see me lose $100 to Oni, $100 to Koku, $200 to Carl, because I don't know him. So I'm gonna really lose big to him. But then the crazy people, like, then you got Gas who don't know me, Gas, Lero, Norma, Keyboy, and everybody. They don't know me, but they just saw y'all win. Guess what they gonna get down there and do? I been lost $400 to y'all, but I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna win about 800 off them. So I'm gonna give you something with those hidden colors and some of that stuff that he was saying. That was the hustler giving you something publicly, so everybody can say, "See, he is real. Look what he's doing. Look what he's doing." That's the hustler. Or if you play Chase the P, you shooting dice, 2 points for $1. Listen to what they're saying and watch the movement and think about when they're hustling. That's all it is. It's a hustle. So I'm going to look how hype foundational whatever is about the museum with the Wikipedia printout pictures on the wall. They are happy. They ain't getting nothing from it, but he done gave them some. So now he gonna be able to get more. Me personally, I don't think he got all that money for that spot from black folks. I really don't. What, $1.8 million? I really don't think $1.8 million came from black people in 2 months for him to get that spot. I don't, that's me, right? But if you listen to him and you understand the hustle, and you ever seen anybody hustle, and you know what a hustle is, and you listen to him, you can see his hustle all the time. So he got the white folks bag, he got the black folks bag, and he gonna get anybody else bag who's willing to put it there in front of him. He working for white folk, but he hustling. Black folk, working for white folk, hustling black folk. That's what he doing. I hear the mic.
Bakari, you know what I appreciated with your response there, and I hope others will do the same, is talk about the signs. I think a lot of us, we don't get the signs. We're not familiar. Like you said, if you're not familiar with the hustle, you won't see the signs. So I appreciate that. So let's mix it up. Let's go to Buana next. Buana, did Tariq take the bag?
Yes, I think that by the way, what Brother Bakari just said just now is a very profound thing, because I am ashamed to admit, I didn't see the hustle. I didn't see it, Brother Bakari, and unfortunately, it's people like me, I would have been one of them people, in playing a 3-card money game, who would have put my money down. You know what I mean? And I would have get taken, because I didn't see it coming. Not in a million years, man. So when he flipped it, I would have been, one of the people who would have just get took, and there are many people like us out here who wouldn't have seen 3 steps ahead of that situation or scenario to really say, well, this guy is just trying to hustle us. I didn't see it. I gotta see. And I also didn't reckon. I was so naive that I didn't know that there was so much money in Black hate. I didn't, well, and really that's a naive position, because when you watch the Hollywood, movies all the time, we are being denigrated and talked bad about, and there's always conflict, So there's someone at the end of that who's making millions of dollars off of that. So to see it in real life, happening, I shouldn't be surprised, but to the degree on which, the door that Tariq has opened in terms of the hatred that we have for one another, it's really been put on Front Street. I didn't know it was at the level that it's at, among us, internationally, so he has spoke to something that it was seething beneath the surface, that is really come to a head, and it's something that we really should have addressed and really wasn't talked about. So even on that level, if we are able to work out, some situation, because maybe uh, conflict is not always a bad thing. Maybe there are some things that should have been talked about and said and discussed, among us in our peculiar situation that we are in, that we really never talked about online, because we were so separated. And the fact that we have ultimately this is our first time in having these discussions, there are some things that we really needed to work out. It's too bad it started from a hustle and a pimp, but these are discussions we should have been having a long, long time ago. We should have been working on a long, long, long time ago. But like I say, and I agree with you, I don't think that all of that money is coming or being sourced from black folks. I don't think so. I think that he have a strong white listenership that who would have contributed because they want to foster this kind of bad relationship that we have among each other. They don't mind it. They don't. They sit back and they are entertained by it. So what's to say? Many white supremacists would have been paying into the Hidden History Museum and would want to prop him up, as they did with others. The guy and mentioned Candace Owens and Jesse Lee Peterson. They prop these people up. So I believe that he's taken the buy either directly or indirectly. I believe that there are people who are funding him behind the scenes. But like I say, I was naive, but I'm catching up. I'm a quick study and I'm a quick learner. So when I see these kinds of characters and cats again, and it's funny because my society have a lot of these gangsters as well. So I missed it. But as you say, he put out the candy, and everyone ran to try to get that candy, and at the end of the day, it ended up being vinegar candy, and I didn't realize it, but I do realize it now, and I won't be so quick to fall into that trap again, because it was just a new trap. It was a new trap, and I really was deceived initially, but like I say, man, I'm a quick study, and I learn quickly, and I like I say, what you said was very profound, and I'll have to take that into consideration. But it's not to say that I don't want to take the alternative position where when I see guys that I believe are hustling for a good reason, to look at them with a jaundiced eye or look at them sideways. I don't want to have that position with all black people, but I would remember guys like this in the back of my mind, going forward. But like I say, I appreciate your commentary, brother. I'll stop there.
Thank you for that, Bwana. In the chat, a lot of good conversations. One thing I wanted to point out is Lero mentioned that she actually visited Umar's school, and she said it was a nice little building. So that's cool that someone actually went and took a look at it for themselves. I guess Gas is rooting for Tariq if he's not trolling. Trigger happy them are having their comments. So it's a good time in the chat. You guys could jump in the chat and see what the commentary is. Let's hear from Tanzan next. Tanzan, what say you?
I can't say I'm really partial to him from what I've done. I'm not a big fan, so obviously I'm biased, but I think that pretty much everyone, a lot of the people that are allowed to be in the positions where they are is, it's due to somebody that, they must have made some deals with. I don't understand why, his popularity, but hey, there's a lot of things I don't know. But in terms of, taking the bag, I think he sees an opportunity and, he took it. And he understands, the kind of rhetoric that, is good for getting people and views and support and so on. So, hey, as for the museum, I was skeptical that it was going to be, to be built actually. So I was quite surprised that, an actual physical building came out. So that was quite a surprise. But in terms of taking the money, it's like I said, I don't like his methods, but at the same time, he didn't steal from people. He's not like the BLM people. People, gave him money voluntarily. So it's more of taking advantage of people's needs, or seeing something that I think for me, the part that I'm not really for him, it's okay to rally your people together, but not against another group. I think that for me, the most detrimental aspect of his work is that aspect of being against a certain group of people instead of looking at the main problem and facing that. So in that respect, I think that he's simply just using people's emotions and taking advantage of them in that aspect to for his own interests. But in terms of scamming, which is lying to people and telling them something that you don't do, I would have said that earlier if before the museum was built, but since he followed up with it, there's not too much I can say after that. And then but I will say that the two most important things that I don't support is the anti-African stance, and also the I guess the opportunism, the simply filling people up with talk and not really changing the culture for the better. I think it's mostly a lot of negativity and not a guideline or an aim and a vision of where to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that turn. People gave to BLM willingly too, though. So it's the same scam. They gave.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay, I thought they were funded by
in the millions to BLM.
Oh, okay. Then yes, I guess it's the same. Well, it's not. Well, at least he built a museum with it, and he produced documentaries and things like that. He actually has something to show for his work. So, yeah.
That's true. Noted. In the chat, Harsh Rowdy Podcast says D Web. So shout out to D Web. Says museums cost millions to maintain, even a modest sized one. Not to mention the LA property taxes. He basically bought a hall to rent out, like Trigger Happy 262 Plus said. Yeah, if you look at this thing, man, this guy has comedy shows and the shit now every week. It looks like it's just a lounge. And you know what gets me too, man, real quick? This to me is one of the telltale signs of a grifter too. Tariq is a man in his early to mid 50s. Why are you using the slang of like 18 and 19-year-old stuff, like this young kid stuff? It's because you're trying to relate, and like it's a real it's just so bothersome. Everything this dude says, oh, it's oppy, it's ops. It's like, why are you talking like that as a big grown man? I'm a little younger than him, and you don't hear me talking like that. Like, why are you talking like that? It's weird. But anyway. With all of that said, Oni, what are your thoughts? Did Tariq take the bag?
Oh yeah, of course. like it ain't even like that's not even a question. What I could say is this: that I think really one of the issues that we don't address enough is the age of consciousness that people have. So I'm gonna give Brother Bakari and I guess Keyway some props in the sense that they have younger ages of consciousness than most people. Brother Bakari, and Brother Bakari says that I think his father involved him in like political activism, let's say, and obviously we can see what he's done with Keyway, right? Well, not him alone, but I'm just saying, like, we can see that Keyway is a young man and he's on his shit, right? That said, like I also not as young as Brother Bakari, and probably not as young as Keyway, but like I can remember back in high school, having a sort of a political consciousness in regards to wanting to uplift Black folk type stuff. But I could even say this: by the time I get to my early 20s, I'm part of the United African Movement, right? I'm like the youngest person there, right? But the thing is that I could see the difference between a political activist or like a political, or like people who are involved in the movement, like people who are devoting themselves to the movement, and then the people on YouTube, you know, particularly like during the 125th Street, you know, what I don't know what they call them. I forgot what they call them, but you know, particularly that crowd, you know. So Tariq Nasheed shows up during the height of that, you know, Sarnetta nonsense. But by the time Sarnetta comes out, I don't watch any of it because I'm already involved in a serious political movement. You know, I'm already involved in with serious black people. You know, and I think somebody else told Keyway he should look into Alton Maddox Jr. That was a serious black lawyer. You know, a serious advocate for the people. Did most of his cases pro bono type stuff. But the trouble with what happened with, you know, I'm just giving a little history, I guess. What happened with him was that he didn't want to, you know, break, you know, whatever sort of, you know, rule at the demand of white folk, and so they just took his law license. You know, and then he hasn't been able to work in a legal profession for like a good. By the time I met him, it was like 20, 30 years. You know, all the same. What I'm saying is that I peeped game from jump. When I first even heard of Hidden Colors, I was like, no, that's some old bullshit. I don't even want to get involved in that. Right? Somebody bought me, like burned a copy of it for me, and then, you know, gave it to me and said, you know, you got to watch this. I watched it and I'm just like, and, you know, obviously, you know, Umar Johnson was there and he wasn't as bad as the rest of the people, but, you know, you saw the other, you know, clowns more or less. But then Tariq Nasheed shows up, and I'm just like, why the fuck is this guy on this documentary? And you know, eventually it turned out it was he who produced it. But he even says, I'm a dating coach professional. And the kicker is that he's not even a dating coach professional. He's a motherfucking pimp wannabe who writes pimp fiction on how to get women by doing so and so forth. You know? He's like I saw a mile away he was a grifter, because there was already a whole bunch of grifters already. But this is what I talk about with the age of consciousness. A lot of black folk didn't peep game. When BLM came out, I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? That's clearly a grift. A lot of black folk didn't peep game. Boyce Watkins, you know, Brother Polite, Tariq Nasheed, this person, that person. All of them was just a bunch of phonies, a bunch of clowns, right? But because black folk didn't receive that political education, you know, it's like, oh, you know, innocent until proven guilty type shit. You have to, like I said about how New Yorkers are, you have to be paranoid. I'm not saying, and a lot of New Yorkers didn't even peep that either. We didn't peep these people, but like I'll say this: my African American elder would tell me, the African American proverb, or a proverb here. She says, by the time the fools learn how the game is played, the players have already dispersed. People should have peeped. Like, you don't have to look at this guy for 5 minutes without saying what is your purpose? Because again, you know, one thing I always would stress back in the day: if you really want black people to advance, what organization are you a part of? What are you organizing? What are you doing in that capacity? You know, because even back then when I was like I said, I was a part of the UAM. After I left the UAM, I made an organization, African Blood Siblings. Y'all heard about it, right? I did. Like, you had to be a part, and I was meeting every week like you're supposed to. You know, if this is an old ass man with money, right? Like, you got money, you got capital, you got so on and so forth. You should be advancing a real organization, and there should be something being done. But what we see, like I said, you should, like, people don't peep game, and people aren't really savvy. People don't really got political education. So any motherfucker can come right in front of you, right? And then tell you, man, you know, you great, and you this, and you that, and, you know, you built every blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, they say, well, you know, I'm selling t-shirts or some shit, or I got this documentary, you ain't gonna blah, blah. And then we gonna give them money, and then what? If you could only get out of this with an organized effort, right? If you can only get out of this with organization, what are you like? That's it.
Only I liked every point you made, and you talked about something that I had reason to think about all this week. All this week, I was thinking about this age of consciousness. I was thinking, for as long as consciousness been pushing, right? And, you know, it was before Garvey, but let's just even go back to this 100 years or so to Garvey. For as long as this thing has been pushing, why is it we don't have more youth who are conscious? And I was thinking about this because of a conversation this week, but also because in the past this came up about, you know, who's older and who's more conscious and this, that, and the other. And it makes me wonder, if we had people, a whole generation in the civil rights movement, and then a whole other generation in the roaring 20s and all that stuff, who were conscious and who were in organizations and who were pushing being organized, why is it that we're in this place now where, you know, it's still the case where most times you find someone coming into consciousness like 30 something, maybe even 40. Why is it you're not seeing the 18-year-olds in consciousness?
But let me just say before.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, you
answer that right quick.
But let me just say before that, like, you got to give Brother Bakari his props, because not only did his pops do it, but he did it with his son. So you got to give him props for that. Also, Kiba, you got to give Kiba props. But
we giving Brother Bakari too much respect right now. We need to disrespect.
So watch this, right? So I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna say it. I said it earlier, and I'm gonna continue to say it. But now I'm gonna call it this. It's Willie Lynch. When the Willie Lynch book tell you, make the young fight the old, how can somebody be unconscious when you constantly hearing people, don't listen to your elders, they don't know nothing, they out of date, all that shit is old? How can you, when you constantly, yeah, I can take my son, I can take my children, and we can insulate a couple of our children, a couple of our youth from that, but the dumb bullshit, going to college is old. Doing this is old. Anything black folks do is old. Don't listen to old people. They out of date, but they take their ass to college. Nobody never out of date but their elders. Nobody ever out of date but black people. So you want to know the problem? That's the problem. We turn to fight each other. And I have my reasons why we fight each other, because we are scared of the people that created the problem. Anything that black people do is so being conscious, as y'all say conscious, I really don't use the word conscious and woke to represent me for this conversation. I'll say conscious. So being conscious, black power, red, black, and green, that shit is old. We need something new. So now you say, why do this old 50-year-old kid like, yo, what's up, you did? Them my ops, you did. That nigga ain't nothing but a nerd, you did. That's why he do it. So he can relate to young folks. So then they telling folks, don't listen to the other folk. That's why there's no conscience there. But you know what? When I said, I just sat back and let them, then all you got to do is listen. Listen to black people, the things that they say, what they talk about. That's all you have to do. It ain't just a preacher who say, thank God for slavery, because if it wasn't for slavery, I'd be in Africa worshiping the tree. I've heard some so-called conscious people say, you know, in America, and look at all this technology we got. Huh? The only thing they left off was if it wasn't for slavery. But basically, that's what's being said. Like, I would do, and I love Real Black Gentlemen, but in a sense, he compared Tariq Nasheed to Marcus Garvey and said it's basically the same.
I saw that.
Because in the end, it fell apart. It's not the same. Marcus Garvey they fed people. They built, they had the Black Cross nurses. They built a nursing school. They had a trade school. It's not in Virginia called Liberty University. The original Liberty College was owned by the UNIA in Virginia. So it's not the same. But for some strange reason, whether it's a social media celebrity or a television celebrity. So then we can skip and we talk about the preachers. Preachers are always talked about Anybody that ever did good for black people in the past is always talked about. But even here in this chat, you'll find some people want to figure out a way to play offensive lineman and block for people like Tariq Nasheed and I said that bastard name, but it's people like him and people after him that want to tell you, don't listen to the elder black people. Don't listen to nothing they're saying. They don't relate to us. But when them young folks, when they get in trouble or when something go wrong, then they want to call the elder black folks and say, can you help me with this? I give people my age or who got you, and I give them a little advice. You have to get to the point to where you can even tell your own child. And if my oldest child was here, he'll tell you what I told him. Help you twice. You don't listen. Dad, I ain't putting nothing else on no books ever. I ain't bailing nobody out of jail. I ain't putting nothing on no damn books. You're going to wish you had to listen. See how that works? So now you got a choice. Either you're going to just do and stay in there because I'm not doing it no more. You don't want to listen. You don't want to have you don't want to have respect. You don't want, so that's what it is. It's the Willie Lynch chip. Make the young generation fight the older generation. The young generation gonna seem like they know more. I'm not gonna stop calling old folks elders. They are somebody elder. They might not be your elder. They might not be your elder, Laro, but they are something. And that's the point. Why is it just so hard to respect a black person? Why is that just so hard to respect black people for black people? I have no idea. But that's why it's easily to get hustled. The person that's hustling you don't have no respect for you. When he said Brother Polite, and I don't know, I'm gonna say it again. Have y'all ever heard Brother Polite talk? When you hear him talk, he wants you to know what he's saying. He slow down, and so then you can hear all his new Wapianism and what he called himself New Covenant. But then when he didn't want you to know what he said, you got to pay attention to the cadence when they speak. So then he speed up a little bit. He was telling people about land he had in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, but the address is 26315. He gonna give you that. But everything before that and after that, he didn't want you to know. So he spoke real fast. Then he slow down. Then he speak fast again. Then he throw in a big dictionary word that a lot of times is used out of context because they think that, man, you got to pay attention to everything when people out here hustling you. And boy, Morris Watkins, he's a hustler. That's why people like him, they're cowards because they're going to tell you as long as you make money, you're okay. Figure out a way to make some money. Then everything is going to be okay as long as you got money. As long as, man, you got to pay attention to everything. Listen, I don't know, man. Maybe I need to give a class. Maybe I need to give a class.
Maybe
I need to give a class. You know what? The harsh reality point. You can say they sold out. You can say a lot of them sold out, but all of them didn't. But I bet y'all don't ever say them white folk. When black folk get in trouble, them old white folks hit that damn gavel reading that old ass law that old ass white people wrote and get their ass football numbers in jail. They don't never say nothing disrespectful about them. They only got smoke for black folk. And that's what I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking about. But they ain't gonna ever get a smoke to the people that created this shit, that created the problems that we're going through. We got to fix them. Somebody else created them, but we can point fingers at black folk all day. Don't point none at them because you point them at them, they might cut them off. I'm just saying. So that's the problem. That's why there ain't no consciousness. Because people get to, man, I'm not trying to deal with them. I'm not trying to deal with them. You get tired of young folks thinking they can speak to you any kind of way. You get tired of young people thinking they can get, and they only doing it to black people. Only doing it to black people. Only. And that's what I'm talking about.
Brother Bakari, as long as, see, I don't watch the noise in the marketplace. As long as I get the air, or we have the air, of people like he, when he was 19 years old, and he have an ear to listen to what people would consider a bunch of old fogies got to talk about on a Saturday night when he could be doing anything in the world. I know that our message is reaching someone where it's relatable to what they are hearing. So I don't mind the noise in the marketplace. I focus on
Stop writing,
people who
bro.
are I focus on people who are willing to listen, and it is what it is. I mean, the other people, if they decide to, when they get a little bit more maturity in terms of what we talk about, great. If they don't, well, it is what it is. See, these people criticize us, and they
Hey,
say that
wait, let me say this right quick. I don't mean to cut you off. See, harsh reality. I'm 51. I ain't got to the point. I don't care what other people youth do no more. My son is here with me. We can keep making excuses and say the youth don't want to listen. My son is here with me. My daughter listen to me. I'm cool. I got people in the community that listen to me. So we can keep saying what the youth, I don't care. Let the youth be the youth. Let them, they ain't got to listen to nobody.
Go ahead,
They ain't got
Juan.
to listen to nobody.
Like I say, these people, as long as people like Keith Way is listening to us, he'll create, he'll gather much wisdom from which people who've been on this planet longer than him have accrued over more years than he's been on this planet. So he'll be the beneficiary of not only his dad's intelligence and the wisdom that his dad would give him, but other men from other backgrounds and other different kinds of experiences. So he'll be more prepared than his competitors when it's his time. So I'm not worried about it. My job will be done. You know, people say that our dialogue is too intellectual. This is what they talk about. Our dialogue is too, and nobody want to listen to. Don't you know they have think tanks in the United States of America and all over the world with very intelligent people dialoguing all the time of what they're gonna do with you, and you ain't having these kinds of conversations. You consider it to be, like I say, people consider it to be whatever it want to be. I'ma stay on message. I'ma stay on message. I'm not minding the noise in the marketplace. But I'll stop. I'll leave it alone.
Hey,
I just want to say something.
watch this. Read it. I'm sorry, Carl. Go ahead.
No, I want to say that I think that someone I think only mentioned about the lack of political education, and just for me speaking personally, it's not so much that we do need political education, but I will say that I think H. Rap Brown mentioned that it's not so much organizations that revolutionize or bring us to consciousness; it's circumstances and conditions. For me personally, I remember being a young man when Latasha Harlins got killed, and this young black girl gets shot in the back of the head by an Asian store owner, and it got me asking questions. So my mother, she had the autobiography of Malcolm X. She let me read it, and that led me to that. And I think that we're really missing that level of political education from the community. They'll tell you to vote, they'll tell you to do certain things, and you got to get your money and create businesses, but we're not getting that political education that we need, and we're not bringing that to the young people, and they don't know. So they see the conditions that black people are in, but they don't have the education to interpret and decipher that and come up with ways to fight back against that. And that's on us. That's also on we have COINTELPRO and other organizations that work hard to stifle that level of intellect we need. Even the Tariqs of the world. Look at Tariq talking about, the way he talks about black immigrants. At a time when we need unity most, he's calling these people tethers and all type of other sort of disrespectful names, and it just puts us against each other in a way that we don't need. We need unity. We need to understand we have more things in common than things apart. And they pay into that. So I think that the conditions that we live in as African people, that helps revolutionize us and bring us to greater consciousness. But then when the young people come to us, what are we giving them? We're not giving them the information that they need. I remember when Hurricane Katrina happened back in 2005. You saw a whole city of black people who were literally left to die by the government. Many people that I know came to a level of consciousness just looking at those events. But then what happened with that? Where did they go from there? So I think we have to take advantage of these situations, these atrocities that happen to our people, and then use that as a way to reach out to the young people, because they need that education.
Well, I will say
Check
this.
this out, right?
Let me say this. Hold on, brother Bakari. Let me say this. If Tariq Nasheed has a young audience that he is misinforming them every week, he's crippling them. We are in a global economy. if Keyway comes on this program, he's talking not only from people within the borders of the United States of America, but he's getting a perspective that's in the Caribbean. He's getting a perspective that's coming from a continent of Africa. He's getting a global perspective of the world. How much more prepared is he going to be in the future? Because the world is globalizing. How much more prepared is he going to be in the future rather than listening to contracted conversations from Tariq Nasheed, who's a high school dropout? I'll leave it there.
See, check this out, right? One more tell y'all, them old people fought, them elders, them older black people fought in the problem. They just put everybody in the same chat. So this is, you got people in the chat and they there that's talking shit. When was the last time they've been to a city council meeting to change something in their community? When was the last time they, in their 30s, so, because you grown now, so stop blaming people now that's old. What are you doing? When was the last time they've been to a city council meeting? When was the last time they've been to a county meeting? When black people was hungry during COVID, when people couldn't get out here during COVID and do nothing, how many of them organized to go door to door and give food and toiletries to black people? I'm talking about the young ones. I ain't talking about the old. How many of them did that? See, it's easy to look and blame somebody else. It's easy to look and blame somebody. I've been doing this shit since I was 5 years old, my whole life. Ain't had a choice. It is absolutely disrespectful for people to just sit and talk in everything that they enjoy today. What they would call progress is because older black folks put their life on the line and they want to sit and disrespect it and don't do nothing. Then they just put all black people of a certain, put all older black people in the same damn box. All of them in the same box. All of them in the same damn box. What kind of shit is that? But the stuff they enjoy, what they call progress today, older black people put their life on the line for it. People die, some people died out here so they could do, but the only thing they could think to say, the only thing they could, I went grocery shopping, I didn't pass out PB&J either. I got the time the grocery stores was open and I got grocery lists and I went grocery shopping for people and I took the food to their house. So I'm going to say, how many, talking about what they enjoy today, how many older black people died for that? They don't get no respect. No, they don't get no respect. White people just decided to change laws and everything on their own. Older black people didn't do nothing. And people don't think that's disrespectful to just put all old black people in the same box and just say, oh, that's the old shit. Okay, well, it's the old. Like I said, my children here with me. The children so I don't give a shit. So I let the young folks in their 30s handle it. Because if they can do it, they can do something. Instead of complaining about other people, they can do something then. Don't that make sense? Do that make sense?
Yes, so it makes sense. It makes sense. I think that, I don't want to group all older people together because I forgot. I think it was Sister Soldier who said every old person is not an elder. Sometimes we got old niggas. But with that, true. But I'm not going to disrespect the people, like you said, who laid down their lives so that way we can have better opportunities. I didn't grow up in Jim Crow. My grandmother did. My great uncle did. They grew up in Jim Crow. They grew up where people were getting lynched, and you couldn't touch the body. Where a white man could push you off the sidewalk, and you couldn't do nothing about it but go home and cry. So I'm not going to say that the conditions that we live in 2023 are the same as they were in 1923, and I think that's because there are some black people who laid down their lives. Just like there are some black people who betrayed the movement. Some black people who went with integration rather than true liberation. So I think that we have to distinguish between the elders who did everything possible to make sure we have opportunities versus the old niggas who decided to jump on board when it was convenient for them and take advantage of the sacrifices that our ancestors went through. I think it was Kwame Ture that said that every advancement that black people have made in society was paid for in somebody's blood. The fact that you go to college as a black person, that's somebody had to die for that, right? fact that you can even, you know, do the things that you can do. Somebody had to give their life for that. So I don't think we should disrespect the elders. I think that we have to look at their example, take the ball, move the ball forward. And I think that that's where we're kind of fumbling the ball, because we're not taking that example and moving forward. And, you know, I think that's where we're messing up at.
Because we're stuck blaming other people for we're stuck just blaming, and then you put them all in the same box. It's never some, it's always them old folks. It's never some. It's just all of them in the same box all the time. Oh, but I'm gonna tell you again, and it is some old folks, Carl, and everybody on the panel. It is some old folks they listen to. They listen to them old white folks who done wrote them old ass laws. They ain't gonna say, am I lying? Do you ever hear them tell white, oh man, that's that old shit? You ever heard them say that's what them old ass law white people write, Carl?
I mean, every now and then, but it's not as loud as, you know, disrespect.
When they talk about black folks, isn't it loud? That's that old
it's not as loud.
They don't tell that to them old white folks, though. And that's what I'm talking about. I got them black people can't get a break. So then when people, that's why you find so many older people like, man, I'm just tired, man. It don't make a difference. We can't get a break. They don't just put me in the box with the people that sold us out. I put my life on the line for this. But now y'all don't put me in the box with the people that sold you out. At least make a distinction and say these type of people sold us out and these type of people help. But just to put everybody in the same box and say, that's that old shit. That's that old. Don't nobody shit.
I think the problem is that we do too much, and I think we talked about this last week. We got too much patience for our traders in this community. We got some black people who really betrayed the movements and betrayed the community, and they're able to walk around and there's no repercussions. I think we really got to analyze. Bringing it back to Tariq, we got some people out here who have really done harm to black people, and we really don't have any way to really punish them or go after them, because I think that's a major problem. As black people, we are powerless in society. We need to go about power, but we got people out here who betray us and work against the interests of black people. And what happens to them? Nothing. They get some money from the white people. What do we do about that?
And they get money from black folks. So Lero,
yeah,
you're right. Y'all young folks not supposed to be snagged. You just said people old, they time down, they're up, sound like you cheering on them, waiting for them. Won't y'all just go ahead and move it forward then? Stop complaining about what other people ain't doing and just move forward. Why is that so hard?
Let's do the final shoot the breeze topic tonight. The time really flew by for me here. I didn't realize it was already in 1:20 something in the morning. So this should be the last topic for the night.